adjust my camera back to. Okay, okay. Alright, so I was just reading my devotional and I thought to share because I felt I'm probably not the only one who. Is this better or worse? I'm probably not the only one who is going through this or has a similar experience, but I just wanted to share anyway. So, I was reading my devotional from Joyce Meyer's, one of her devotionals, the Confident Woman devotion, and I was just reading today's one, August 22, and it's about how God holds our future and how some of us just worry about things that are out of our control. I know I'm on that table. I know that I worry a lot about things that are out of my control. And I was like, you know what? You shouldn't read this devotional alone. I'll just go through it with anybody that joins this live. So why not? So, is there anything in your life that you have just read about that you really shouldn't be worrying about? This devotional is for you. We're talking about how would my future be. Some people are like, oh, I'm this amount of age and I've not achieved as much as people my age. Things like that are completely out of our control to an extent. What our future holds is really out of our control. But as human beings, we just continue to worry about it. And today's devotional is telling us there's really no point in worrying about things that are completely out of our control as human beings. So I'm going to read the Bible passage for today's devotional. And that's Matthew chapter 6, verse 27 to 30. 27 to 30, and it says, which of you by worrying can add 1 cubit to his stature? Someone just joined. Hi. So why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. And yet I say to you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Can you imagine? Do you see that? We all know Solomon was very wealthy and there was a lot of glory around him, yet he was not even like the lilies that can't worry. They just let God tend to them, and they are more glorious than Solomon in all his glory. Remember when the Queen of Sheba, I think, arrived at Solomon's palace and she saw his foreman, I think, and she thought it was Solomon because of how glorious and wonderful he looked. So imagine how Solomon looked. And the Bible is telling us that even the lilies are more glorious than Solomon. Yet they don't have anyone like tending to them. They're just there and God just tends to them. And 30 now says, now if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? The Bible even reminds us of our little faith, that if God can clothe the grass, can look after plants, what about us that he's created in his own image, in his own likeness? Why do we worry so much? Why do we worry about our future? Why do we worry about how rich we're going to be? Why do we worry about life in general? What is it going to bring us? It's just going to open the room for fear. And that's what today's devotional is about. How worrying and anxiety can open the room for fear. She wrote, none of us knows for sure what the future holds. Exactly. I don't know what the future holds. I sure think you don't know what the future holds. So why are we worrying about it? If you don't know what it is, why are you worrying about things that you don't know what it is? And he has told us in his word that his plan for us is for us to have an expected future, to give us like the best life that he can give us. And in the same word, he still told us that no matter what we've imagined, what his thoughts are towards us are way more than we have ever imagined. So why exactly are we worrying? Why are you worrying? What's the worry about? Okay, imagine that you're in a very uncomfortable situation where you have like a really bad debt and you don't know how you're going to clear that. I know it's absurd and uncommon to say why you're worrying about it, but really why are you worrying about it? If you don't know, if you don't know how you're going to clear that debt, why are you worrying about it? Just take it to God in prayer, especially if you've done your very best. You've done your very best. Oh, thank you for your subscription. Thank you. Imagine that you've done your very best and you still don't know how you're going to clear that debt. Why don't you just take it to God in prayer? He's the owner of silver and gold. They all belong to him. So if he has all of that, he would surely find a way to, clear that debt. So why wouldn't you just take it to God in prayer? Why are you holding on to it? Why are you worrying about it? Why are you thinking about it? Okay, another situation. That's the situation for debt now. You've been looking for a job and you're yet to find a job and you're just so worried about it. You've done your best. You subscribed. Hi everyone that's joining. Thank you for joining. You've done your best. You've applied for jobs. You've even gone for some interviews, but you've not had any positive feedback. What are you going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. So instead of worrying about it and opening the room for fear and saying, has God forgotten me? Is my life so bad? Why am I not like other people? Instead of doing that, why don't you just go to God in prayers? And he's the one who would make a way where it seems like there is no way. It's God that can do that. I can't make a way where there seems to be no way. You can't make a way where there seems to be no way, but God can. I can't call water out of a rock, but he can. All he has asked me to do is have faith, and even my tiny little faith can move mountains. So if my little faith can move mountains, I'm sure that when I have faith, that job somehow would come. Indeed, if I try to call water out of a rock, I probably would because of the faith. Because if he says that our faith can move mountains, I'm sure our faith can make impossible things happen, like finding a job where it seems like we're unable to, clearing a debt when it seems like we're unable to clear those debts, coming out of a sickness that seems like the sickness is not going away. That little faith, that the Bible tells us that the power of life and death is in our tongue. So imagine what we say when we are sick. Imagine what we say when it seems difficult for us. When we say positive things, we begin to see positive things in our lives. So guys, please, today's devotional is about keeping fear away. And how do we keep fear away? Is by keeping anxiety and worrying away. There's no point worrying. Our worrying has never solved any problem. So instead of worrying, please go to God in prayer. Hi to anyone else who is just joining. Thank you for joining. So that's what today's devotion is about. God holds our future. God holds my future. He holds your future. You don't. He does. So instead of worrying and opening the door to fear, please, let's stop worrying. I'm just going to read some of the comments. Hi everyone. Someone has said, what's your continent? Mine is England. I'm in the UK as well. Thank you for joining the live. So another bit again that she talked about, she said, we keep wondering about things we don't have answers to. Whenever we wonder about things that we don't have answers to, it just opens the door to fear. Like I mentioned earlier, that's the only thing worry does. The only thing worry does is to open the door to fear. I remember there was a time I was going through a phase in my life where I was really concerned about something. It had to do with my child, and I didn't know what to do. And every night I would find myself Googling and reading things that weren't adding anything to the situation. It was just creating more fear to me. And I just, you know what, I'm just going to go to the Word of God for this. And I went to the Word of God, I went to the Bible, I read a Bible passage, and it just changed the trajectory of everything. It just changed everything. That thing that my child couldn't do, he suddenly started doing it because I read the Word, and I just continued to speak it over his life, and everything just changed. But remember the time I was worrying and I was always Googling and checking what I could do to make it better, and it didn't make anything better. But when I just found the Word of God and spoke it over him, everything just changed and it just got better. So, what is my worry going to do? What is your worry going to do? Absolutely nothing. So instead of instead of worrying, why don't you just go ahead and just give it all to God? Just give it all to God. Some of you may not agree with this, but this is what I believe. This is what I've tried and it has worked for me. So I believe. So she went ahead and she was saying, instead of wondering about what you have absolutely no control over, trust God that whatever your future holds, He'll enable you to handle it when the time comes. Exactly. So whatever the future holds, when it comes, just pray to God for grace. Pray to God for strength to be able to handle whatever the future comes with. And you do your best. Do your best. Just do your best. Do your own part. If it's you're looking for a job, just keep applying, sharpening your own skills, get those soft skills that you want, and in the future, when you eventually get a job, you've already prepared yourself. But why are you worrying about the time frame between when you're looking for a job and when you eventually get a job? Just follow God, just study the word and prepare yourself for the future that you want. Exactly. Then she went ahead and she said, wherever you're going, God has already been there and paved the way for you. Except you don't believe. The way has already been paved. He's the one who makes a way where there seems to be no way. So wherever He's leading us to, He has already made the way for us. So just follow Him and it just becomes easier. I really hope this devotional has, spoken to somebody else as it spoke to me, and I thought it was best to share with anyone who was online and would join the live. I really pray that if you're going through a difficult phase where worry has become the next best thing for you, that God just brings you out of it, that God makes a way for you where there seems to be no way, and that He takes that worry off of you and gives you joy that surpasses my understanding and your understanding. This is my prayer for anyone who is going through a difficult time, anyone who is going through a time of anxiety, doubt, fear. I pray that God brings you out of it. To everyone who is still on the live, thank you for joining my live. I hope this devotional touched you somehow or has helped you one way or the other. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope you have a good night rest. I'm going to bed now, and wherever you are, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye, guys.